All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to you right here on Zim Daily. It's Sunday morning where we're broadcasting to you live from, and it's the weekend special. It's a new program that we're bringing here right in the early hours of every Sunday morning. The news and cartoons, where we try and capture the best or the most interesting news in the week as we illustrate it in form of cartoons. And right here on Zim Daily, we are going to be running a summary of some of the news headlines for the week. A brand new show that we're bringing you here, the news and cartoons. Stay tuned. Right, in case you're joining us, and welcome to the weekend special here on Zim Daily. The time is coming out to 12 minutes after 2 o'clock in the morning, where we're broadcasting to you live from. This is a brand new show where we look at some of the captivating events of the week, and we illustrate those events in forms of cartoons. I think for some of you who've been following us here on Zim Daily, know that we run a daily front page with trying to illustrate the most breaking news in cartoon format. And we're going to be running that for you this evening, looking at those headlines for the past week. So stay tuned to Zim Daily. All right, thank you for joining us right here in the very early hours of the morning on a Sunday. This is Sunday, the 30th of January, and it's the year of our Lord 2022. And welcome to this show, the first of many kinds that we'll be running here on Zim Daily, just to try and bring you a variety of an assortment of news as we inch closer to the 26th of March 2022. Kuneva changubva mutibata tiri pano paZim Daily nasoona tine chirongwa chitsva. This is coming to you live, by the way. It's exactly 2:15 a.m. right here where we're coming to you live from, and we're looking at the news and cartoons, capturing news in the most captivating way as we look at it together. Stay tuned to Zim Daily. All right, in case you're joining us, you are actually not lost. This is a live show, and we're coming to you live here on Zim Daily, just bring you some of the programs that will be an assortment of programs that we are planning to put together as we inch closer to the 26th of March. Things are holding up in Zimbabwe. For those that are in the know, you know very well that 24 hours is a lot of time in politics. And just a few days ago, we saw the launch of the coalition, Citizens Coalition for Change, they call it. It's the new movement in Zimbabwe that is taking the whole country by storm. And tonight, in case you're joining us, this is the first of its kind. In fact, it's coming up to 16 minutes after 2 o'clock in the morning, where we're coming to you live from. And we're just trialing out these new programs that we're going to be bringing you as we inch closer to the 26th of March. Zimbabwe is getting very interesting. And just to give you some of the major highlights, we're going to try and present the news in a format that has never been seen before. Right, we try to bring you the news in the most captivating way. The news and cartoons right here on Zim Daily. Stay tuned. It's very early hours of the morning right here on Zim Daily, and thank you very much for joining us. It's coming up to 20 minutes after 2 a.m. and welcome to the brand new show starting right here on Zimbabwe Daily. News and cartoons. We capture the news in the most captivating way. In case you're joining us, welcome to the show. As we inch closer to the 26th of March, as they say, politics, 24 hours is a long time in politics. Just this past week, we saw the launch of the new movement, Coalition for Democratic Change, the new party led by Nelson Chamisa. It has already taken the whole country by storm. And I'm sure ZANU-PF is quaking in its pants tonight as they try to figure out how they're going to counteract this movement that seems to be unstoppable. And we're going to be looking at some of the latest that is coming out of Zimbabwe tonight. As we look at the news and cartoons, we try to illustrate the headlines in the most captivating way. We use cartoons to illustrate the headlines for the day. And as we're going to be looking at this together, may you please stay tuned to Zim Daily. We'll be right back. Once again, a very good morning and good afternoon and good evening to you right here on Zimbabwe Daily. And we are just starting a new show here. Exactly 21 minutes after 2 o'clock in the morning, we are bringing you a brand new show, The News and Cartoons, where we look at some of the interesting headlines coming out of our motherland, Zimbabwe. One of the most interesting things that we've seen this past week, we're just going to be running a show where we look at the headlines for the past 7 days. So these are the headlines for the past 7 days where we captured them in a most captivating way. The headlines in the news format. And can you stay tuned, please? We will be right back. All right, let's get in the groove and kicks this program off tonight, this morning, as we look at the most interesting news of the past 7 days right here on Zim Daily, Zimbabwe Daily. In case you're joining us, it's exactly 25 after 2 o'clock on the 30th of January, the year of our Lord 2022, and this is Zim Daily, Zimbabwe Daily. We are looking at the news and cartoons. This is a brand new program where we try to illustrate the headlines of we are reviewing the headlines of the past 7 days in the most captivating way. We try and capture these headlines and illustrate them in a way that you can appreciate exactly what is going on. They say a picture says a million words, and sometimes you just have to just represent it in a pictorial formats in order for you to convey the news that you want everyone to be aware of. 26th of March is only a few months away, and there's a lot that is happening in our motherland, and we are going to be running this show most likely on a daily basis just to capture those events of the past week. And we are right here live on Zim Daily, and welcome once again. It's Sunday the 30th of January 2022, and it's the news and cartoons. The show is starting now. In case you're joining us, stay tuned. Yes, and we will cut right to the chase here. Our first headline for the day, we are looking at the news and cartoons. All right, we are looking and just getting some feedback there. I don't know what's going on here in the studio as we try and get right to the bottom of this, the news and cartoons. Let's look at our first story for the week. This is the story from this is the story that appeared on right here on Zim Daily. We're looking at the news and cartoons as we kickstart this week. It's the 30th of January 2022, and it's coming up to 28 minutes after 2 o'clock in the morning. And this is a live show. In case you're joining us, we're looking at the news and the cartoons, how news is illustrated in cartoon format here on Zim Daily. And the cartoon we're going to kick this show off with is a cartoon that appeared on the 24th. If I getting this right, this is the news and the news and cartoons. I don't know how we just need to get this corrected quickly while we are looking at the news and cartoons. We will be right back. All right, good morning and good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are joining us from this morning, where we're broadcasting to you live from. And welcome to the news and cartoons, where we get to look at the latest news coming out of Zimbabwe, represented in cartoon format. To kickstart this show, we want to thank you for joining us this morning. January the 30th, the year of our Lord 2022 is the date, and we are coming to you live on Zim Daily, Zimbabwe Daily, news and cartoons. We're looking at the cartoons for the past 7 days, how the news has been captured and illustrated in cartoon format. And we start off with the 23rd of January, which is last Saturday. The news article that appears in our inaugural show of the news and cartoons is the news of the ZEC chairperson, who happens to be a very divisive figure, if you will. This is a lady who is kind of can decide how the country would flip in terms of who actually runs or who's in control of the reins of power in Zimbabwe. There's so much here at stake. The 26th of March is the event that will kickstart, that is actually leading to the most anticipated election of since independence, which is the elections of the coming year, the 2023 elections. And Miss Chigumba, or Priscilla Chigumba, who happens to be the ZEC chairperson, blames the Registrar General for some of the issues that we'll be seeing with voter registration. We had a fiasco last week where pretty much they sent out a statement saying they would only registered some paltry number of voters in the past since the last election. And as you know, the opposition parties in Zimbabwe have been going through a blitz just to ensure they get as many people registered as possible. Ran a campaign for months, and if not for almost a year now, where they're trying to encourage almost everyone to register. But this lady, or the body that she represents, released a statement just a few days ago that they've only registered a paltry 2,000 new voters since the last elections. And we have a cartoon here that obviously captures what the lady stands for. You're welcome if you're joining us. This is the news and cartoons, a brand new show right here on Zim Daily, where we look at some of the interesting headlines for the past week, and we try and capture them in such a way that they're captivating enough for anyone who cares about the events in Zimbabwe. To kick off the show, we have the story of the past week, which is the 23rd of January, where the headline says the ZEC chairperson blames the Registrar General for voter registration fiasco. Priscilla Chigumba, who happens to be the chairperson for ZEC, only managed to register 2,000 new voters since the last elections. And this obviously caused a furore within the community, the Zimbabwean community, given that the NGOs and the opposition parties have been on a voter registration blitz countrywide, trying to encourage as many new people to register, and only to discover that a few people have been registered since the last election. And obviously that's not very encouraging, given the fact that we are trying to push for change in a country that has not seen change for many, many years. And Priscilla Chigumba's shenanigans obviously are contributing to some of the pain and suffering that we as Zimbabweans are experiencing, and she doesn't seem to care. So this cartoon on the news and headlines tries to capture that event. In fact, I don't think they're trying to make a scorn out or to scorn her weight here, but they're just trying to illustrate a point that she's consolidated so much, or she's consolidating so much gains. And we know when she appeared on TV just a week ago, she obviously was looking a bit more, you know what I mean? And there is suspicion that ZANU-PF is kind of bankrolling some of the things that she's doing, or bribing her, rather, to ensure that they win the elections come what may. But this is probably going to prove a bit difficult this time, given the fact that we have seen a wave that has never been seen before since the elections, since, well, independence 1980. Just the past few days since the launch of the Citizens Coalition for Change, I think everyone in Zimbabwe agrees that we are actually moving in some uncharted territory in terms of trying to bring change in Zimbabwe. I think the excitement that we've seen on the ground and also generally on the social sphere, we can see that a lot of Zimbabweans are pumped up for change. This time around, it's going to be very difficult for the likes of Chigumba to play around with the wishes of the masses. And we hope that we will be able to counteract any shenanigans that this lady is up to. Another headline, interesting headline also, MDCT provinces uphold Kupe's suspension. We saw that Thokozani Kupe, who happened to be the vice president of the MDCT, decided to split the party last week. She held a news conference last week where she declared that she is now the new leader of the Movement for Democratic Change, Tsvangirai. I think we have seen quite a lot happening in Zimbabwe, and welcome in case you're joining us. This is the News and Cartoons, where we try to illustrate the most interesting headlines coming out of Zimbabwe in a way that is captivating and also in a unique and different way right here on Zim Daily. The name of the show is News and Cartoons, and welcome. Stay tuned as we look. We've just looked at the headline for the 23rd of January 2022, where we've got the ZEC chairperson, Priscilla Chigumba, who is illustrated as someone who has gained quite a lot. There's obviously suspicion that she's enjoying quite a lot of leverage from ZANU-PF in terms of bribing, so that she favorably favors or she tilts the elections towards ZANU-PF. And this lady is, as you can see here, there is a tray full of cash, and also she's gained a bit of weight. Not to laugh at obviously her weight, but we're just trying to illustrate something here that definitely she is the most influential person right now in Zimbabwe who can tilt the reins of power by just merely delivering a free and fair election in Zimbabwe. She doesn't have to do anything. All she has to do is to do what the Constitution of Zimbabwe requires, that as a ZEC chairperson, she is meant to be non-partisan. She's meant to deliver a free and fair election. But obviously, given the tone of some of the things that she's been saying, one wonders whether she's really objective in terms of delivering that mandate of a free and fair elections in Zimbabwe. And hence, she's been captured here in this cartoon where we look at the news and cartoons. Stay tuned to Zim Daily, and we'll be right back. In case you're joining us, welcome back. We are looking at the news and cartoons. This is a brainish program right here on Zim Daily, where we look at the latest or most interesting headlines coming out of Zimbabwe, illustrated in a form or a format that is unique and different from the way we know news. So we've just looked at the 23rd of January 2022. Miss Priscilla Chigumba consolidating gains. Let's look at the next headline, which was for the 24th. In fact, this one was for the 23rd. The headline for the 24th, right here on Zim Daily, is also captured in captures the events of the previous week, where Thokozani Kupe decided to split the already split MDCT. And there has been rumor, obviously, of the way that things have panned out or have been panning out in the opposition movement, ZANU-PF, which is very capable of doing all sorts of shenanigans. He's believed to have a hand in the split of the MDCT, and they definitely have a lot to gain from that. So we actually see here in this cartoon where MDCT president, the new so-called president of the Movement for Democratic Change, Thokozani Kupe, calling the Minister of Justice just to inform them that she has carried out the mission that they had given her to ensure that the opposition remains split, and that ZANU-PF, this obviously benefits ZANU-PF and ensures ZANU-PF stays in power forever. In case you're joining us, this is Zim Daily, Zimbabwe Daily, a brand new show where we look at the news and cartoons. And we're coming to you live. It's exactly 18 minutes to 3 o'clock in the morning, where we're broadcasting to you on the 30th of January, 2022. And we're looking at the news and cartoons. This is the brand new program. And what you're seeing on your screen right now is the cartoon of the 24th. This was the headline story on Zim Daily on the 24th, where Thokozani Kupe is depicted here as someone who is definitely being used by the ruling party to ensure that the opposition in the country remains split. And it's ZANU-PF that has to gain from all this chaos that we're seeing in Zimbabwe. So Thokozani Kupe is believed to be behind, or rather being used by the ruling party. And right here, the cartoon shows here, calling the Minister of Justice just to confirm that the mandate that they had given her to split, they already split MDC, she has managed to accomplish that mission. And obviously this is satire. We don't claim that this is what actually happened, but we are trying to represent that article. There is also so much truth to what you're seeing on the screen. ZANU-PF is more than capable of doing such a thing, and we know that they have a hand, or rather there are some people within the so-called opposition that are hell-bent on ensuring that the opposition remains split. But now, given that we have a new kid on the block, Citizens Coalition for Change, a new party that was launched just a few days ago, history will judge whether ZANU-PF shenanigans will continue to rule the day. But we'll just watch and see while we continue looking at some of the news that coming out of Zimbabwe. In the same headline of the 24th of January 2022, we see here Monzora dismisses Kupe split, and he calls it a one-person turbulence. Right, we're looking at the news and cartoons right here on Zim Daily. This is a new show that we bring you every weekend. It's exactly coming up to 2:45 o'clock in the morning. Right here on Zim Daily, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. They say politics, 24 hours is a long time in politics, and it surely is. This whole week has seen quite a lot happen in Zimbabwe, and we have been following the events of the past week, and we are right here just to share some of the major headlines for the past 7 days. And we are looking at this show, this brand new show, the news and cartoons, where we try to illustrate the major headlines of the week in the most captivating way that you can ever think of. And we are now looking on the 25th of January, 2022. And just so, okay, so this saw the sun rising over Zimbabwe, and we have an illustration here on the news and cartoons. The 25th saw the launch of the new movement, which is the movement, the Citizens Coalition for Change. And we are right here on Zim Daily this morning looking at the news and cartoons of the past 7 days. We are just looking at some of the most captivating headlines of the past week, illustrated in a format that is unique and different. And right here on your screen, we are capturing the headline of the 25th of January 2022. This is the day that the Citizens Coalition for Change party was launched. And we see here a yellow, the symbols and color, the color and symbols. They depict themselves as a yellow movement. And we see here the sun, which is also yellow, is represented as it is rising over Zimbabwe. And everyone is just, as you can see from the cartoon here, people can't believe what they are seeing, because this yellow movement, which is taking the whole country by storm, has kind of caught everyone unaware. And we can see that from what is happening right now in Zimbabwe. We've never seen such a response from Zimbabweans in terms of how everyone is embracing this new movement. We know that the yellow movement, or the Citizens Coalition for Change, launched on the 24th, and the headline here that is capturing that story is illustrating the sun that is rising over Zimbabwe. Here on a brand new show, the news and cartoons, we're looking at the news headlines for the past week on your favorite Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube channel, Zimbabwe Daily. And what you're seeing on the screen here is Chamisa unveils new party, Citizens Coalition for Change, was the headline. And let's look at the headline of the 26th on this program, the news and cartoons, right here on the 30th of January 2022. In case you're joining us, we are broadcasting to you live this morning, looking at the latest news illustrated in a way that is unique and also different. The 26th, I don't know if I captured the 26th, which is the cartoon here depicts obviously a very sad president here who has kind of felt the tsunami, or rather the earthquake, that the CCC movement has brought to the country. And we see a very sad president here who has decided to get rid of the yellow on the official flag of Zimbabwe, because he sees this yellow tsunami that has hit Zimbabwe, And I'm sure even Chamisa and his crew did not expect the impact that CCC has had in the past few days. It's something really behind this. And there is no doubt that the days of ZANU-PF are numbered. It's just a matter of when, not if. So we are coming up to 10 minutes to 3 o'clock in the morning, right here on Zim Daily. Stay tuned to Zimbabwe Daily as we look at the news and cartoons. All right, in case you're joining us, welcome to this live program, a live brand new program, the news and cartoons. We look at the cartoons, or the headlines of the past 7 days, illustrated in cartoon format. We're looking at the headline of the 26th here. This is a day or two after the launch of the Citizens Coalition for Change. This is something that is kind of caught everyone unaware. I'm sure the amount the impact that this movement, the yellow movement, they're calling it, has had on Zimbabweans in and outside Zimbabwe is so overwhelming. The endorsement by the general populace who are yearning for change. They have embraced this new Triple C party to the extent that ZANU-PF is now quaking in itself as they try to respond to this earthquake that has hit Zimbabwe. And right here we see the president who is shown here with a sad face and obviously understands the implication of this new movement in terms of his reign. It's 40-year reign or 42 years in power. They understand, ZANU-PF understands this very well, that if this movement succeeds, their days are numbered in terms of even their free days for them to continue roaming the streets as free men and women. They understand that very well. So hence the cartoon kind of says a million words in terms of ZANU-PF's fate. If not when this movement succeeds, we are not looking at if anymore. We're talking about when now in terms of the winds of change in Zimbabwe that have been blowing for quite some time. I think we all agree that we've now gotten to a point where almost everyone has had enough. Some of the responses that we've seen on social media coming from unexpected corners that are embracing this new movement, the Citizens Coalition for Change. And obviously, President Mnangagwa understands the implications of the success of this movement, and the cartoon illustrates his response here. And I'm sure if he could, he would remove the yellow on the flag. And we see a very sad president there, and even the scarf doesn't show the yellow color anymore, and also the Zimbabwean flag. These are some of the things that we've seen come out of ZANU are very petty, and I think the cartoon actually does some justice to what the ZANU-PF people are actually thinking as we speak. They can be so petty and get to the extent of even getting rid. We understand just yesterday, was it Friday, when those this Yellow Friday movement that is coming out of the Citizens Coalition for Change. In fact, they had called for Friday to be a day where everyone dresses in yellow. It's a peaceful movement, non-violence. They just ask the citizens to come out wearing yellow. And we understand that a few of those citizens that heeded that call, some of them have been assaulted by the police, and we understand some have also been they're in jail just for exercising their free right to wear whatever color they want to show themselves in. And these are the kind of politicians that we're dealing with in Zimbabwe. And I think the cartoon captures what is in ZANU-PF's minds right now as we witness these new winds of change that have never blown the way they have in the past few days. I think all of you agree with me that some of the excitement that we're seeing in the community, in the Zimbabwean community, both in Zimbabwe and outside Zimbabwe, is something we've not seen for a very long time. I think everyone understands that we have had enough, and this is the time for us to actually come out and support whatever or whoever is promising the change that we can all believe in. I think the Citizens Coalition for Change, this new movement, has seen some of the greatest support that you can ever that we've seen in Zimbabwe. So the next few days we will be watching from the terraces as we continue to monitor the events in Zimbabwe. Right here on Zim Daily, we are bringing you the news and cartoons. This is a brand new show that looks at the headlines for the past 7 days, illustrated in the most captivating and unique way in cartoon format. And this is the headline for the 26th of January, 2 days after the launch of the Citizens Coalition for Change. ZANU-PF is already contemplating on making some of the major changes within the Zimbabwe to make sure that the yellow movement does not succeed. And some of those petty changes, I'm sure if they could, they would get rid of the yellow that we see on the Zimbabwean flag. Stay tuned to Zim Daily and we'll be right back. All right, now coming up to 3 minutes to 3 o'clock in the morning, right here on Zim Daily, as we unpack and uncover some of the interesting stories that are coming out of Zimbabwe, and we are looking at the news and cartoons. This is the cartoon of the 26th of January. Let's look at the 27th of January, last Thursday. We're trying to look at some of the most interesting news that are coming out of Zimbabwe, captured in a very unique and different way in cartoon format. The next cartoon that we're looking at here is the cartoon of the 27th. And you see here a gentleman, I think we can kind of work out that that's Douglas, a depiction of Douglas Monzora there, doing whatever he can to ensure that the yellow movement dies a still birth. And we see here a pile of stones that are being laid on top of what appears to be a sunflower plant. And this gentleman is kind of surprised that no matter what he's throwing at this movement, this sunflower plant is well and alive. That's a very good depiction of what is actually happening in Zimbabwe. A lot of darts have been thrown at the real change in Zimbabwe, or the real change movement led by Nelson Chamisa. They've done almost everything. They've taken everything away from them, as Chamisa confirmed on the launch of their new movement, the Citizens Coalition for Change. They've done almost everything, and we see here in the cartoon that you are seeing on the screen that Douglas Monzora, who happens to be used by the ruling party to try and get rid of opposition in Zimbabwe. We know that he is a tool of the ruling party in Zimbabwe to try and stifle any meaningful talk of change within Zimbabwe. And he is trying. He's already been trying, I'm sure, for some time. And obviously the way Monzora has been, the way he's handled himself the past few years, can kind of tell you that this guy was more within the MDC anyway. He is a ZANU-PF asset that was planted within the movement that is meant to bring change to Zimbabwe. And obviously at some point that that asset has to show its true colors. And we're seeing Douglas Monzora here coming out in the past few months. He has decided now to come out and kind of prove to everyone that, or who he is. And now he is not even ashamed of publicly trying to stifle the change that we are all anticipating in Zimbabwe. And the cartoon captures that story very well, in the sense that those stones that are being piled at this plant seem to not have succeeded in ensuring that there is no growth in the opposition movement. And obviously, last but not least, the cartoon that we are looking at for this week, the last and certainly not the least cartoon here, is the cartoon of the 28th, right here on Zim Daily, the news and cartoons. We're looking at the cartoon that was released on the 28th of January 2022. State media urged to provide fair and balanced coverage. We know that since the launch of the Citizens Coalition for Change, state media has been trying to smear this change. I know one of the stories that I was looking at where they were accusing the new Citizens Coalition for Change, or Chamisa's party, of using a symbol, a terrorism symbol. They kind of are trying to ensure that they don't get any support from the West. As you know, they think, ZANU-PF actually thinks that they're dealing with kids when you actually look at some of the way they've responded to this new movement, that it seems very unstoppable. So the cartoon here, right here on the News and Cartoons, as we look at the major headlines depicted in cartoon format, is the state media that has been trying to smear or to soil the new Citizens Coalition for Change. And that attempt has not succeeded. The attempt to soil or to smear the new movement has definitely failed. When you look at some of the way the community or the Zimbabweans have responded to that campaign, Zimbabweans are now clever enough to just put aside almost every negative headline that comes out of the state media. We are now kind of savvy enough to ignore and move on. It's exactly what is happening right here on the News and Headlines, the News and Cartoons right here on Zimdela. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we will end this show on this very note. You have a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening right here on Zim Daily. Bye for now.